Welcome to Bloom. I am so happy you are here, and today is the first iteration of our mental health toolbox, also known as our bloomkit. What? Stay tuned to the end where I'm going to be giving some extra goodies to strengthen this tool in your bloomkit. Let's get started. I will start the video in just a second, but before I do, I wanted to put out a quick disclaimer that I am not a trained professional. My hope is that you think of these videos as a friend sharing their story and what has worked for them, in hopes that it will inspire you on your path to healing. Make everything your own. Let it fit into your life how it works best for you. I don't have all the answers, so I'm just sharing, hey, this has worked for me and I think this is why. And if that resonates with you, then run with it. And if it doesn't, I hope that it still gives you a little bit of support and healing in the process, because that's what I'm here for. So, okay, let me jump into it. I do not have an on-screen personality in my opinion. I am really good at writing, and I think that I'm very eloquent in that form. But when it comes to like transcribing the thoughts in my head or the words on my page out through my mouth, something just goes wrong. So I don't want to edit those things out. I want everything to be as transparent and authentic as possible. So please bear with me through some of those hiccups. But I have had this idea and this vision for this page for years now. It has maybe taken different forms or not been fully realized, but this is something I knew I wanted to share, but I was honestly too scared to do it. Yeah, so again, this is not going to be like a traditional YouTube video you've seen before. I have had a lot of self-doubt when creating this video. I have tried to make YouTube videos in the past, not on this topic, but in general, because I think it's a really cool free platform and resource for people. And I've always really liked it, but I stopped, and I've prolonged this channel because for multiple reasons, but one of the main ones was I have gotten made fun of from my videos in front of me, to my face, at my workplace, actually, which was just a horrible experience. And it made me really go back into my shell and not feel like what I have to say. It just made me feel like what I had to say was not valid, and I was just not cut out for doing anything like this. So please bear with me while I work out some of the kinks that is this channel. But I'm never going to learn, or I'm never going to be able to find what works for me in how I share this message if I don't just start and I don't just try. Don't get me wrong, I'm still incredibly terrified of it, and I have almost stopped myself multiple times. But I have been seeing a lot of messages recently, just in various forms, saying, the thing that you're scared the most of is the thing you're supposed to be doing. And this is definitely something that scares me the most. So it's a work in progress, and the dynamic of these videos may evolve and grow, and hopefully I become more comfortable in sharing everything that I want to share, but I think that if I stop and wait for the perfect moment to share everything that I have inside of me that I want to do. I mean, I'll just never get there. I'll never get to the perfect moment, because will there ever be a perfect moment? I think that is partially why it has taken me so long to do what I want to do, because I'm like, oh, well, once I have things more together, once I have things more figured out, once I feel like I'm more of a quote unquote expert on whatever it is, then I'll start, but that's no way to live. And I'm tired of waiting, and I'm tired of keeping everything that I want to say inside of me, because there might be someone out there that really needs to hear what I want to say. And if I can just make one person feel a little bit more comfortable because I have shared my story, and I mean, then it's worth it. So excuse this long intro. Again, this is going to be a huge work in progress, but you're incredible for listening. You're incredible for letting me be a safe space to, I don't know if you just heard my cat or not, for letting this be a safe space for me to share everything that I want to share. So I really appreciate your support. Thanks for sticking around, going on this journey with me. I hope that you like listening to my stumbly little voice, and let's get going. I don't really know where to start, but I have found myself with a lot of coping mechanisms, specifically through numbing techniques. I have found myself to use food as a way to comfort myself and detach from any feelings, and then compound that with, maybe sitting on the couch and just watching mindless hours of television and not addressing how I felt from that day, or not wanting to deal with some of the things that have been pestering me. Whether that's, just run-of-the-mill intrusive thoughts, or deep themes of hurt that I haven't fully acknowledged within me. So it can look like anything. I could be running away from the woes of the day, or I could be trying to escape facing some of the life hurdles that I feel ashamed of. Through this pattern of numbing, it often leads to depressive fog that makes me feel like I am just going through the motions. I am like a robot to my day, and it makes it really hard to have anything. I'm a creative person. I have a creative job, and it hinders me being able to do my job. I have actually told clients before, that I've told them, like, listen, I'm so sorry that I haven't gotten a better start on this. I can only do projects that have clear, they're clearly painted out. It's very easy, point A to point B, and boom, it's done. Anything that involves any sort of creative expression is really difficult. So it starts to affect my work. It affects everything. When I am just going through the motions, I want to stay home. I want to stay comfortable. I want to continue to do the habits that make me feel comforted, numb. I want to just continue escaping. I can't tell you how many times I have looked at houses, apartments, looked up visas, and figure out how to get away to a European country. I mean, that is a long-term dream of mine, but I've used that so many times to just kind of live in a different life. And as I'm sure everyone knows, this can lead to so many unhealthy habits, patterns. Everything can just really trickle forward. And lead to me spiraling down a direction very, very quickly, unwriting a lot of the progress and things that I've done, all in the name of escapism and not wanting to face some of the emotions that are lingering underneath. And while I do think that sometimes it is okay to escape, some of your thoughts, and it is okay to not confront some emotions, there are certain times and place where it is certainly more beneficial for you to push them aside because it is safe for your well-being. I think a long-term pattern of that can be very destructive. Again, this is something that has really, I'm very aware of it now, and I see how it all happens and see how it all goes down. But because I've done it so consistently over several years, it has led to me being now 26, feel like I don't remember my early 20s. Of course I remember where I was, what I was doing, all of those things. I remember painful moments, of course, and I remember high moments, of course, but all in all, it makes me feel like I have completely gone through the motions of life for the quote-unquote prime of my life, my early 20s. And honestly, I don't think that my prime of my life, I've always thought that my prime of my life will be like when I'm in my 40s, like when I'm like 44. I just feel like I'm gonna be a total badass. Anyway, that's not the point. But the point I am trying to make is that because there are things I haven't wanted to address, because there are emotions that I push away and I use habits of escapism and numbing, and that leads to depressive fog, which leads me to go through the motions and just get through my day by any means of survival and not fully address what I need to address, it has led me to feel like I have wasted part of my life. And that is just, everything is just passing by so quickly. This is just, again, this is my experience. This is what not knowing what to do for years and not understanding how to identify certain things and what to do when you identify those patterns, they constantly cycle and self-perpetuate. Okay, editing Carly wants to pop in right here and say, as I was listening to this, I can already hear what maybe some viewers are saying, like, go to a therapist, go get help, like you have all of these issues that can be addressed and can be, you can be worked through on with a little help. And I know I've been to multiple therapists. I've been on antidepressants. I've tried everything under the sun. When, like if you were to Google how to heal depression or whatever, I've tried mostly everything. Saying that, someone might counter back and say, oh, well, you just have to stick with it. Like maybe you should continue to be in therapy. And honestly, I can't afford that. Even when I did have decent health insurance, I, couldn't fully afford my out-of-pocket. There's just a lot more that goes into it. So just know that I am fully aware that there are a lot of things out there that could help me. I don't have to be feeling this way. I have a lot of resources that could have made things a lot easier potentially. But honestly, the things that, as soon as things stopped working for me, quote unquote traditional methods stopped working for me, as silly as it sounds, since I sound so lost and so defeated, I almost had this fire inside of me that said, like, I can figure this out myself. I found so many resources, books, podcasts, just teachers in general, and just started on my journey. And I think that everyone's journey is different, and not everyone wants to embark on something like that themselves, and they want to just get the help from that a therapist can give and all of those things can give. But that was just not what I chose to do, and it is what I still choose not to do. From that story, it's really, really funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it is kind of funny to see, you know, my friends that I've known for the past, I don't know, 6 years. If they follow my social media, they know that my favorite movie is P.S. I Love You. I am always watching it, and though I don't always share it on my social media when I'm watching it, it is a movie that I've seen, I can't even put a number on. I don't even know how many times I've seen it, but so many times. It is always the one that I return to. And I started watching it all the time, and of course, now looking back, I realized that I was doing it because it made me feel something. And in the midst of being so disconnected from your emotions and not feeling anything, and feeling something felt really good. But this is not me saying, hey, go watch P.S. I Love You to cry and then start to face all of the emotions that you were neglecting. That is definitely not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we go from not wanting to feel the emotions and hiding them away as a way to cope, survive, make ourselves comfortable. And in turn, we end up getting so disconnected with our emotional body that it's destructive in all of the ways that I've already described. It puts us into autopilot mode, which, again, as I explained slightly previously, was destructive for me, and I think that everyone can resonate that not feeling present and in control of your life can be incredibly destructive. So in my head, it seems that I want to get away from my emotions. I get away from them too far. That leads me completely disconnected from my emotional body. And the way that I subconsciously throughout the years have gotten myself through these times is by reconnecting with my emotional body. Even if it's not, addressing the things that I was initially running away from, your emotional body is so powerful in that, yes, it can be incredibly painful and destructive in one end, but on the other end, it can be incredibly fulfilling and enlightening and inspiring and powerful. Like, there's so many things that it can do on the flip side for us. And so really this whole tool, this tip, is to learn how to bridge that gap between not feeling anything because you've pushed so much down, you've pushed so much away, and you've become so disconnected from your emotional body, to how do we bridge that gap and connect with our emotions again and start to feel something again in a very surface level way. Just feeling anything when you have not felt anything for so long can be very uplifting. Again, it's not going to heal all of your problems. It's not going to heal the things that you have suppressed down inside of you. That is a lifelong path. Just to make yourself start to feel better and start to live your days more present and aware, and start to consciously be able to take steps towards healing, you need to jolt yourself out of that numbing and emotionless state. And the way that I've thought about doing this is, again, I told you, I have, without realizing it, done this for myself by watching P.S. I Love You, by watching On the Basis of Sex, is an incredible movie. RBG, rest in peace. While yes, I cry at that movie too, I feel very inspired and uplifted watching that movie. So, again, it's not just, oh, go find a movie that's going to make you cry, or, go connect to something that's going to make you cry, because I know that that might not be productive for a lot of people. It's go find something that will make you feel something, make you feel anything. And this is, let me get into the specifics of this a little bit more. I think it's really important to connect to our emotional body via the 5 senses, right? So our emotional body is not something that we can see or touch, but our 5 senses are things that are more tangible, that we can, literally see, touch, feel, smell, hear, all of those things. They are very easy and concrete ways to kind of hack into connecting with something that you can't see and you can't touch. Hello, editing Carly stepping in. The footage that I had here, it wasn't really making a lot of sense, so I want to step in and just say what I need to say in this portion of the video. Watching movies was the way that I discovered it within myself. I discovered that, if I watched something that genuinely made me feel something, it brought this wash of clarity and presence over me that felt so invigorating and powerful. And that's when I started to take note of, every time I watch this movie, I cry or I feel something, and that completely changes the state of mind that I'm in. The 5 senses thing, it's kind of a loose instruction, right? It's kind of just saying, hey, maybe where you start is pick one, and sight is probably the easiest, as well as hear. Pick one of those 2 and then say, okay, album just came out that I have super loved and wanted to listen to more, and the lyrics really resonate with me. So great, that's a place to start. Using the 5 senses is just a starting point. It's a way to make it easier to find what's going to work for you. I also think that there is a little bit of importance of the 5 senses, because it's something that is kind of forcing you to be present by using your 5 senses, and not just saying okay, yeah, watch this. If you because then it can just all turn into a mindless habit again. But I think if you start with, okay, what sense can I use that already taps you in to a little bit of body awareness, which helps bridge your gap between what we've been saying, not feeling anything and starting to feel something. So take the 5 senses as loosely or as strictly as you want. It's mainly just a way to get you kind of in the right mindset and be a starting point to find what this thing is, what this outlet is that you can use. It might not be a movie, it might not be music, it might be something completely different that clearly my creativity can't come up with right now and share with you, but hopefully the community comments on this video and can help me fill in the blanks and help give the ideas that I do not have for you right now. So when you tap into that emotion, if you watch that movie and then you're struck with that emotion, whether it be overwhelming and overflowing or it just be the tiniest emotion, it lifts a fog. It starts to, it's like rain. It's like the cleansing feeling and power of rain. The rain washes down over you. It cleanses all of that just heaviness and that darkness. It just washes it away, and you start to feel like the clouds are going to part and you're going to be able to see the light again. Use that moment of clarity, that moment of present understanding to drive you to the next step of your healing process. It is literally like connecting to your emotional body and starting to feel something for the first time. It's like being thrown a rope and you still have to climb out of the hole. You still have to use some strength and knowledge of how to climb. But you finally have a path out. One step at a time, as slowly as you need. But it starts. And you can pull yourself out of the way you are feeling. I wholeheartedly believe that. And if you feel that you can't or you want more guidance, maybe this is this, step that says, oh, I need to book a session with my therapist, or, oh, maybe I need to call my friend. Whatever it is, whatever resource you need to lean on, whatever step and method you need to take from here, it's ever forward, and if you slip back, that's okay, but hopefully you can tap into this again. If you wake up the next day and forget and don't feel that drive anymore, I hope that you remember, I felt really alive and I felt really present when I watched that movie, or I listened to that song, or I did that thing that made me feel something. And maybe you have to repeat that. Maybe you have to, day after day, you have to keep watching that movie. You have to keep feeling something to get yourself to where you need to be. It might not be a cool, I watched this movie, I felt a little something, and now it's done. It might also be a trial and error process, because maybe you watched something that you thought you were going to feel something, or you listened to something you thought you were going to feel something, or whatever it is, and you don't. And then what? It's all a trial and error. But I think the more you experiment, the more you learn about yourself, the closer you will become to finding that thing that sparks that emotion and sparks that life inside of you and gives you that drive to pull yourself out. Hi everyone, you made it to the other side of this video. Thank you so much if you are still here and listening or watching. I have a few things that I want to share, so don't go anywhere yet. The first thing is, wow, this has turned into a little bit more of like a podcast, but honestly, I'm not mad about it. I think that the conversation aspect of it really adds to what I need to get out, what I need to say with this type of topic. This will not be the format for every video. Some of the videos that are a little bit lighter or, are more structured, like top 5 tips or top 10, whatever, obviously will not be this long. I think that it's nice to have a variety though, some that are a little bit longer, more like a podcast, more like a conversation, and that's what this one was. Moving on to my next point, if you resonated with what was said in this video and you tried some of, my ideas out or my methods out, or maybe you got inspired by something I said and found something that worked for you, I would love it if you would revisit this video and comment below what that thing is that worked for you. I briefly touched on it before, but I think the main driving point behind why I think this can be such a helpful space is if everyone gets involved, everyone comes back, shares their perspective, shares what worked for them in order to continue to inspire as many people as possible, and so that it becomes just an incredible resource for someone visiting, in a few years. It's not just someone coming to get my perspective and my tips. They have an entire laundry list of comments to be able to sift through and get inspired by. So yeah, I would really love it and appreciate it if you shared your opinion and your method in how it relates to this video below. I think that it would be an incredible way to build a safe space and a really awesome community around mental health awareness. I think that would be incredible. I talked about some pretty heavy topics, but I want to drive home also that these topics, or I want to drive home that these methods and this perspective and these kind of principles are not just for those that, experience severe depression or and any level of depression. It can be for anyone who maybe you're in a funk and you're having a hard time pulling yourself out of it. You've had a bad few days. I think that these ideas can be applicable for more than just those who identify very clearly with my story and my experiences. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. It would mean a lot to me if you shared it with a friend. I think growing the community is the most important goal of this page, to have everyone be able to share their perspective and be able to just help your neighbor, help everyone out. It's not just my perspective and my story that I want everyone to cling on to. I know I've said that before, but share it with a friend that you think would get something out of this or might have a good story to tell in the caption or the comments below. And if you feel that you want to see more of my videos and you want to stay tuned on this whole journey, subscribe would be amazing. I'm going to tag my Instagram below. My Instagram is a lot more geared towards just daily reminders and not so much explanations or storytelling or anything like that. It's just like really nice, pretty daily reminders, mental health reminders, and I've been really loving posting over there, so you can check that out as well. And like this video, if again you feel so called. It feels very awkward for me to say, but it would really mean so much to me and help me continue to do what I'm doing here. So yeah, with that, I'm going to close it out. Thank you so much for listening, and I am so excited for you to bloom through it and shine. All right, bye everyone.